Our mini message for today continues the story of Jacob heading home to the promised land. And we're just going to look at 3 verses today, just verses 22, 23, and 24. It says there in verse 22, 3 days later, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So he gathered a group of his relatives and set out in hot pursuit. I love that translation. He caught up with Jacob 7 days later in the hill country of Gilead. But the previous night, God had appeared to Laban the Aramean in a dream and told him, I'm warning you, leave Jacob alone. Now remember, Laban, when Jacob leaves, had been up shearing sheep. He had been, up where his flocks were at. And we know that Laban had taken his flocks to some other places from some previous verses. But also it was very common for the shepherds to take the flocks to different places, sometimes miles and miles away, because they needed to take them from pasture to pasture, from water source to water source. The sheep had to be tended very carefully. They were not really hardy or very smart animals. Sheep generally not real quick. I mean, that's just how it is. And they can get in a state where if they fall over, they can't even get themselves back up, and they will literally lay there and die. So sheep are not the brightest and best of animals, to say the least. We're not dealing with a lion on the prowl here. So he had been doing this major part of his work with his flocks, and so somebody had to come, however many days away it was. They had had to come, tell Laban what had happened. Laban then had to take care of his business where he was, come back home, organize everything, and then take off. So it had been quite an undertaking to get this, as we'd say in the Old West, this posse together to go and get Jacob. But they finally do catch up with him. But what's interesting here is in verse 24, God has a word for Laban. And this kind of shows you what Laban's intentions were. I think Laban had some really bad intentions here. He said, but the previous night, God had appeared to Laban the Aramean in a dream and told him, I'm warning you, leave Jacob alone. So God warns him, and this is very strong language. I'm warning you. I mean, can you imagine God telling you that? That'd take you back a little bit. So I think Laban had come into this with some really bad intentions, maybe even to kill Jacob. I would not put it past Laban at all to kill Jacob. So he comes into this with these predisposed ideas, and God warns him. God threatens him. And it does have an effect on Laban. We'll see that as Laban does confront Jacob really soon. You guys be blessed. We'll see you again for another mini message.